India Kilo 1, Sierra Lima Delta, this is Oscar Romeo 4, ISS.
Moin Leute, bei diesem ARISS Schulkontakt, das wieder über Telefonbrücke abgewickelt wird, könnt ihr den ausgiebigen Antworten von Christopher J. Cassidy, KF5 KDR, lauschen, wie er mit Schülern aus seinem Heimatbundesstaat Maine funkt, nämlich mit dem Bates College Museum of Art. Also, ich wünsche euch viel Spaß dabei und tschüss bis zum nächsten Mal. Oh, der moduliert aber leise.
The event, over.
Ah!
Alex, great question. This is a great place to live. I was hard to say that anything is a struggle, but it's hard for us at times to keep up with the daily timeline. It's a very busy day that we have, balancing that with our desire to look out the window and take pictures and look at our beautiful planet. Over.
8,4 Grad Elevation.
Hi, Julia. Great question. I think that a manned mission to Mars is in the time frame of when you guys become astronauts. So what I would like to accomplish soon is figuring out all the equipment that you need to have ready and functioning to live on Mars, and right now us develop and test out all that equipment so that when the time comes to get to Mars, we're ready to go. Hi, Emily. There's really kind of two categories that fall into that. One is how the most beneficial to people on Earth to help us right now. In my opinion, that has to do with bone health. I think it's very important as we all age to keep our bones strong and healthy, and we deal with that every day here on the space station, such as basically exercise and diet are the two biggest things we've learned. And then what kind of ties into Julia's question before, how can we get on to the exploring the universe, and going to Mars is the next best thing, and experiments that relate to equipment and functioning of that equipment for a Mars mission is the most beneficial in that respect.
22 Grad Elevation und Vollanschlag.
Good question, Abshir. Yes, every bit of electricity that we generate comes from our solar rays. We have 8 of them, and we're generating that electricity and passing it all over the space station for experiments, as well as for just running the space station with all the systems and equipment, and simply lights, too, that we need to function.
Grad Elevation.
Well, Marshall, I thought your voice didn't quite sound like Emily's, but determining the accuracy of MRI, really what we're doing is related to the bone health, and how can we do experiments and test people's health in ways that we don't necessarily have access to an MRI. For instance, in very poor countries, they can't just walk into a clinic and get an MRI done. So what are alternative ways, such as we're doing a spinal ultrasound instead of typically that's done with an MRI and these sort of things. So I wouldn't quite put it in the category of determining the accuracy of the MRI. We all know that's very accurate, but it's what I think is important is coming up with alternative ways that are at least not very expensive and very portable, that can reach to all corners of the world, so people can get quality health care no matter where they live. Well, we have a saying that the the most important thing you're doing on the space station is what you're doing right at that moment, because any time you can make a small little mistake that can lead to bigger mistakes or equipment breaking or hurting yourself. So the hardest task in space is to stay focused and concentrated throughout the day, even when you think that it's a small little detail, to put your 100% concentration into every small task. The greatest achievement that we've had so far on this particular expedition, which I've been a part of for about a little less than a month now, is that we're getting everything done that the ground is assigning to us and a little bit more. So it makes us feel good that we're keeping up with the workload and able to help the ground team out as they plan forward for the rest of this our time in space.
Aber der antwortet sehr ausgiebig. Finde ich eigentlich gut.
Great question, Brenna. Yes, absolutely. And in fact, my crewmate Tom Marshburn just the other day was doing a Spheres experiment and with student software on board. There's a competition that is done annually. I think it was done several months ago when Kevin Ford was up here, and that's all student run. And the Spheres experiment is centered out of MIT, just south of you guys down there in Boston. So it's kind of nice to tie that back to New England. In Houston, Emily, we have or Megan, excuse me, we have a very big swimming pool. In that swimming pool is a mock-up of the space station, and that's where we train for our spacewalks. When I did my first spacewalk 3 years ago, it felt exactly like being in the pool. We call it the Neutral Buoyancy Laboratory, or NBL, and you get a real sense of what it's like to work in space. The big differences are in the pool it's always daytime, and when we're orbiting the Earth and doing a spacewalk, half the time, every 45 minutes it's day, and then for 45 minutes it's night. We go around the world every 90 minutes. But the training is very, very similar to the pool.
17,3 Grad Elevation.
Well, we've been fairly fortunate, Jesse, that we haven't had any major problems while we've been up here. But one thing that can happen and has happened before in the past is a dental problem, for instance, which may sound minor, but if you have a cavity a filling fall out or a cavity become sensitive, it can really put a lot of pain, and you cannot think about anything else besides that. So we're all trained in minor cavity repair, and that I think is the most serious, painful thing, I guess, that has happened while somebody's been in space so far. Kyla, what I would say is just do things that you enjoy, because when you do things you enjoy, you do them well, and when you do things well, you have a good chance of becoming an astronaut. Continue to study hard in school and dream big, and the sky's the limit, and I look forward to seeing you at NASA. I think we're just about out of time. It's been my pleasure to talk with you guys in Lewiston. Real nice to be sort of talking to hometown folks as from just down the road in New York. So have a great day. Thanks very much for being here with me today, and we'll talk to you at some point. Maybe after I land, I'll come up and visit you. Over. India Kilo 1, Sierra Lima Delta, this is Oscar Romeo 4 ISS. Thank you very much. Out.